How we going, Supercar fans? Back again, doing another episode for you guys, and it's good to be back. It's been about a month or whatever since I've been on the sidelines again. As you guys know, up in Queensland and just moving and whatever else. But there's no more of that. We finally get to sit down and actually watch Supercars throughout the weekend, and it was actually really, really good. There was a lot of good stuff happened. A lot of shocking stuff happened as well, and I think you all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to do the recap first, and then we'll get into all the other stuff. But if you guys haven't known, you'll obviously just stick around, and you'll know about it after the recap is finished. But guys, race 17 and 18, it was really, really, really good. Very clean racing all weekend. Only 2 safety cars, coming from the 73% safety car rating that our good buddy Neil Crompton gave us on Saturday and Sunday, saying that there's 73% of safety cars, and usually there is a safety car in this race, all these races. But yeah, we did end up getting one of each in each race, but you know, it wasn't all that crazy. There was no real big accidents during the weekend. It was actually, yeah, everyone pretty much stayed in one piece, apart from Paul Michael Caruso yesterday. But we're gonna hit it in to race 17 right now, guys. I've got my computer set up right behind you, so it's really, really good. But I actually didn't end up watching. I did end up watching qualifying for race 17, but didn't actually post any results down, and I was actually quite upset because I was like, shit, now I don't know where anyone's qualified, but you know, you get that. But before the race even started, guys, Caruso stopped just before turn 11 and just chilled there for a bit. And one thing that spun it out is that they still had green flag and they raced on, and Caruso still stranded at turn 11. So I was thinking, what the hell's going to happen when they get to turn 11? There's going to be a tow truck on the track there, and I don't know what the hell's going to happen. But good thing for Caruso, he actually got out of the way and ended up pitting, and sadly enough, his day was over. And yeah, due to a alternator. So bad luck for him. He didn't actually have the best of weekends as well, Paul Michael. But on lap 2, Jamie Whincup took position 1 from McLaughlin. And these 3, McLaughlin, Whincup, and Shane Van Gisbergen, they just sort of traded places throughout the whole week. It was really, really good. Tander and Courtney at turn 2, again, continuing their rivalry, which ended up giving Tander a penalty for the next day, which sucked for him. But they just sort of bumped each other, or he bumped into Courtney, and Courtney spun, and that was pretty much over for him. And then SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen and Craig Lowndes, they were in contention. Lounsey was in contention, and sadly enough couldn't get past McLaughlin towards the end of the race. But on lap 10, him and Shane Van Gisbergen passed David Reynolds. That was for position, I think it was for a third position. So yeah, it was actually really, really good. SVG got him at the start of the lap, and Lounsey got him at the end of the lap. And by lap 14, we had Mostert, Tander, LeBrock, and Antoine De Pasquale racing for 14th place at turn 3. Now, they were 3 wide heading down the main straight, and Tander was right behind them all. And it was a really, really, really good battle, and it was scary too, because heading into turn 1 there, you're going 250 Ks, and you don't really think about, you know, how many cars you can fit in there, but it was very, very squeezy going through there. But they managed to all get through it once. Yeah, they all managed to get through unscathed, and it was really, really good for them. And they continued on, and I think Mostert ended up getting the best out of it. Now, lap 22, guys, McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen pitted, and it was a battle of the pit crews pretty much. McLaughlin's pit crew couldn't take the S-bike out quick enough, but he ended up not staying in front of Shane Van Gisbergen, and ended up getting him And Whincup came in at the end of lap 23. At the start of lap 23. And yeah, it was... Then Whincup got out miles in front. It was just weird. Like, how the undercut happened throughout the weekend was just insane. Like I said, McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen pitted at the start of lap 22. Mind you, Whincup was in front. And so you were waiting for the undercut and whatever else to happen. And then Whincup came in at the start of lap 23 and ended up getting further out in front than what he was when they were battling. Even though it was like, I think it was like I was going to say 7 minutes then, a 7-second gap between Whincup and Giz, and McLaughlin. And when he came back out, you'd think that they would still be the same around the same times and whatever else, but Whincup ended up getting out in front of him about 11 seconds. So he gained roughly 4 seconds and whatever else in the pits, which was crazy because usually you lose time in the pits, but he gained time in the pits. Lowndes came out of the pits and jumped straight into the battle pack with Shane Van Gisbergen, McLaughlin and Reynolds. So Reynolds was actually running 4th at the time. And Lowndesy, what a great weekend he had. Getting 4th for both races, I'm pretty sure. No, he didn't end up getting 4th. Did he get 4th? Yes, he ended up getting 4th. It's all good. We haven't got that far yet, but yeah, he ended up getting 4th for the whole weekend. And Reynolds had really, really good pace throughout the whole week. It's just he lacked heaps in the race. In both races, actually. Qualifying, he was really, really good. He ended up getting in the top 10 shootout. He qualified, I think, 2nd in race 17. So just his racing performance from his qualifying performance was just terrible. But he ended up getting past, and then it was really, really, really good battle between them. And then Reynolds sort of disappeared for a bit, didn't really do anything. He was just battling on his own, and well, he was just in clean air really, and that left Shane Van Gisbergen and Scott McLaughlin and Craig Lowndes to sort of battle it out by themselves. Hosworth and Simona had contact in the pit lane. They both came in at the same time, and on exit, Hosworth dropped. He went out, and then Simona dropped as well. Now, I think there's like, you're allowed to be side by side for, I think it's like 2 bays or whatever. Well, they were side by side for 15 bays, and that was a little hasty. But when they finally let Simona behind Holsworth, she made contact with him, and that gave her a 15-second time penalty, which sucked because Simona was actually running really, really well. She was in 16th at the time, and Holsworth was in 17th, I'm pretty sure, at the time as well. So, you know, they weren't going too bad. Towards the end of the race, guys, Lowndes was all over the back of McLaughlin. It was so intense. We all wanted to see Craig Lowndes get on the podium, but unfortunately it didn't. They pitted as well on between lap 22 and 47. But they came in and then they rejoined the exact same way. And then again, came out in front of came out behind Shane Van Gisbergen, and they just battled it to the absolute end of the race. Whincup came in at lap 47 and rejoined again miles ahead of everybody else. So he pretty much had it all done and dusted until lap 56 when the safety car came out due to debris on the track. I don't know what the hell it was. It would look like a bit of like steel, but it was Sharpie, and it was on the racing line. Oh, well, not near the racing line, but it was close enough to be on the racing line. So they brought the safety car out on lap 56 and resumed at lap 48. And Cam Waters, towards the end of the race as well, almost put David Reynolds in the wall. Now, it seems to be a common theme with Cam Waters, always hitting people and whatever else. You guys know I hate Cam Waters, so, you know, it doesn't really surprise me that he's trying to put David Reynolds out of contention in the championship as well, because, you know, Tickford's just not doing as great this year. And I think Cam Waters is just being a sore loser. Well, you know, you guys know I hate him, so I just, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that at this stage, he just does stupid things like that. And it seems like Cam just does that in every race now. And like I said, it doesn't surprise me that he's trying to put Reynolds out of contention. He always hits someone during the weekend at some point and sometimes. So it's just, yeah. And tell you what, if he actually did put David Reynolds out of contention, that would have actually put David Reynolds out of the championship picture as well. So, which sucked. But how many laps were there? There was 70 laps. So on lap 68, Richie Stenaway was giving off his drifting skills from lap 11 to 13, and then coming down the main straight was sort of doing that. His tyre, they put the wrong tyres on his car, and so he's just like, yeah, there was no grip at all. It was just sucky, and there was no turn in it whatsoever. And they were like, oh, why don't you just wait a couple of laps and just see how you go? But it just ended up getting worse. So he just decided to destroy the car. And Tim Edwards said at the end of the race that he was a little bit annoyed that Richie did that because he didn't want to kill the engine. But Richie also said in an interview after it that he didn't actually over-rev the car as much, and the gearbox is fine and the engine's fine, so it's all really good. But guys, race 17, we've seen Jamie Whincup win ahead of his Red Bull teammate Shane Van Gisbergen and Scott McLaughlin come third. Here are the results here, guys, so I'm just going to run through them. So Jamie Whincup finishes first, Shane Van Gisbergen finishes second, Scott McLaughlin third place. Craig Lowndes, big fourth place for him, also puts him ahead of, who was it? I think it was David Reynolds, it might be. No, David Reynolds is coming second in the championship. I know that Lowndesy overtook someone in the championship, but I don't actually know how. But Fabian Coulthard finishes fifth. Mark Winterbottom, his best finish so far this year, in sixth. David Reynolds, Cam Waters, Will Davison, Nick Percat showed really, really good pace, and so did Tim Slade. Andre Heingardner as well, best of the Nissans. Where are we? Chaz Mostert. I was trying to think who CM was because I've just got him like in like with their initials. SP. Who's that? I'm gonna kill myself once I know who this is. Oh, who are you? I actually can't remember. This is SP. It's probably like the most simplest freaking answer to SP. I can't remember. Oh no, this is terrible. And the worst thing is I don't really want to stop the recording. SP, who are you? I'm gonna have to, guys. I'm gonna have to. Shit. Oh well. Who was it? 14. They finished 14th. Well, we'll come back to them. 14th. Well, Rick Kelly finished 15th, guys, and Garth Tander finished 16th. James Golding, James Courtney, Lee Holsworth, Anton De Pasquale, Toddy Hazelwood, Jack LeBrock, Richie Stenaway, Tim Blanchard, Simona Di Silvestro, and obviously Michael Caruso not getting just getting a DNS, which is a did not start. But SP, who is that? Can't remember. Can't remember. SP. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to have to stop recording. I'll come back in a sec, guys. Just give me a sec. Guys, it was Scott Pye. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. But yeah, Scott Pye finished in front of Rick Kelly, and the rest goes on from there. But guys, that was race 17. I'm going to be back for race 18 in just a second. So guys, race 18 was a very, very crazy race, actually. It was a messy start at the start of the race. I got Mike here too. Come here. Come on. Up you come. He wants to come and say hello. Come on, Betty. There we go. Good boy. So yeah, the start of race 18, guys, it was a messy start with Simona spinning Caruso, which she got a penalty for later on. That was at turn 2, and Richie Stenaway also spinning at turn 2. And McLaughlin started 7th on the grid and then went all the way down to P11, so he had a terrible, terrible start. With Lap 2 saw Caruso and Pye battling with Chaz Mossett right behind, and they were side by side. They were really, really, really close. Almost came in contact with a couple of times, but eventually James Courtney, got ahead of Scott Pye. And also, Tander got a 15-second time penalty with contact with Stenaway at turn 2 on lap 1. So I didn't actually realise what caused the Stenaway thing until they actually announced that. And that was at, I think it was like lap 13 or something. But yeah, something like that. But with McLaughlin starting to get a little bit of pace, heading up to P9, pitted at lap 14, gave him a little bit of clean air too. And that's sort of, the strategy was a little weird. We didn't know if it was going to work for him, but it ended up did. With lap 19, Whincup rejoined in front of McLaughlin as well. So McLaughlin had come back really, really, really big and ended up getting just behind Jamie Whincup. Lowndes also pitted at lap 22 and rejoined in front of Rick Kelly. They had a little bit of a battle heading into turn 3 and 4. SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen pitted on lap 25 and rejoined behind Whincup and Scott McLaughlin. Now Scotty was now in contention, which was amazing, with the tyre strategy that he went with, meaning that he was on a longer stint on the tyre. I think it was like 30 odd laps or something on that tyre. So towards the end, he was sort of just hoping that a pit or a safety car would come out really quickly. And then by lap 28, which was about 3.5 laps later, Shane Van Gisbergen retook second place from Scott McLaughlin, and that sort of put Scotty. That started the Scott downfall, I guess. Mike's just like sitting there staring at me like, what the hell are you doing? There wasn't really much between lap 28 and 40. But on lap 41, Lowndes and McLaughlin pitted at the same time. Now, Lowndesy coming into the pit lane almost actually hit Scott McLaughlin. He was really, really close. So they were really tight. And being, a bay and a bit away from each other, Scott McLaughlin ended up clearing Craig Lowndes in the pit lane by 3 seconds. So by the time McLaughlin had passed the exit of pit lane, they were just dropping Craig Lowndes, which kind of put him out of contention as well. Lap 48, Whincup pitted, and SVG pitted at the end of lap 49. And Tander also pitted as well and slightly held up Shane Van Gisbergen, but Shano ended up rejoining in front of Whincup anyway, so that sort of helped him a little bit. Safety car came out with 8 to go. Now I've got some footage here, not actual footage. Oh, well, I do have footage. Also a couple of photos, but the reason why the safety car came out is Caruso got thrown into the tyre bundle at turn 11 by Anton De Pasquale. Now I've got, as you can see, there's a little bit of footage here. I know that the camera shot isn't really the best, but I do have a couple of photos there on who might be at fault. Now I'm going to leave that up to you guys on who was at fault here. Now they were racing for position here. Now Caruso just did not have a great weekend at all. He moved over to block Anton. Anton went with him, and then ended up rear-ending him and smacking him into the tyre wall. And as you can see by the damage on the car, it was really, really, really bad. So, and Caruso was not happy with it, so I was waiting for Caruso to wait until Anton de Pasquale came around turn 11 and just like be like, what the hell was going on? But Will Davison as well, this is towards the end of the race. Will Davison got hit and ended up getting saved by Jack LeBrock at turn 3. That was weird too, because he was racing with a couple of others, and if it wasn't for Jack saving him a little bit, he would have rotated the car. But Davison came out of turn 3, and Jack was right there, so he sort of hit the front end of his car and he's re-spun him around. Instead of the whole rotation, he sort of hit him and it saved him a little bit. But with that, there was Tim Slade there, Nick Percat I think was there, Jack was there, and I think Holsworth was right behind him. And I was saying, God, Holsworth was right there, because you all know, I'm a Holsworth supporter. And I was going, oh God, Holsworth could have easily capitalised and easily jumped up to about, I think it was 11th place. That's what they were fighting for. They were fighting for 11th. And on lap 69, James Golding put Davison in the wall at turn 4. Now turn 4 and turn 5 ended up being yellow flags, so there was no passing there, which sort of sucked because McLaughlin was sort of starting to get caught by Craig Lowndes. And again, we're all chanting for Lowndesy to get up on the podium, but it ended up not happening. But SVG ended up winning race 18 ahead of Jamie Whincup and Scott McLaughlin. The results are here, guys. I'm just going to ramble through them. So Shane Van Gisbergen took out race 18. Jamie Whincup finishes 2nd. Scott McLaughlin finishes 3rd. And, oh God, it's cold. SL. Who's that? Ah, that's supposed to be C. But Craig Lowndes finishes 4th. Chaz Mostert, best finish of the year so far, in 5th. David Reynolds in 6th. Rick Kelly 7th. Fabian Coulthard 8th. Cam Waters in 9th. And JC, James Courtney, finishing out in 10th. Now Jack LeBrock and, Antoine. Andre Heimgartner, Mark Winterbottom, Nick Percat, Tim Slade, Lee Holsworth finishing in the teens, which I was happy about there. James Golding, Anton de Pasquale, Garth Tander, Richie Stenaway, Scott Pye. I actually put Pye down underneath this time, so I didn't forget who it was. Simona Di Silvestro, Todd Hazelwood, Tim Blanchard, Will Davison, and again Michael Caruso getting another DNF for the weekend. Now, guys, that is it for the Townsville WatPac. Mike. That is it for Townsville. Ipswich is on not this weekend but next weekend, and I'm not actually going to it because I'd rather save my money and watch it on TV. But I'm going to be again doing Ipswich as well. There's going to be a couple of other things happening next week as well, which is good. But guys, stick around because I'm going to have a little bit of bonus footage about Craig Lowndes and his future in Supercars, if you guys obviously haven't known yet. So guys, hit that subscribe button, please do. Hit the like button as well. Comment down on your favourite part of the weekend if you ended up watching it, or if not, then like the video for all the information I've given you. Dislike the video if you want. I know I was a little bit sloppy. It has been a month since I have done this, so I've got to try and get back into the rhythm of engaging a little bit more. But guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for coming back and being so patient again. It was, I know, such a hard life being a dog. But yeah, I know it was a long stint away from the camera and whatever else, but I'm back now, thank God, and I'm glad to be back. But guys, stick around for the Craig Lowndes announcement, and I shall see you all next weekend for the Ipswich, whatever that is. Thanks very much, guys. I shall see you all soon. Alright guys, a little bit of bonus footage for you here. Now, I don't know if you all know yet, but Craig Lowndes, yes, the man, the icon, the legend, everything you want to be named, want him to be named as, is hanging up his helmet full-time racing. He announced his retirement on Friday morning before any of the practice sessions started, and it was crazy. It was the most kept secret in pit lane. No one knew about it until 5 or so minutes before the public and media knew about it. And to the people that thought that they knew, well, everyone kind of knew that it was coming. We just didn't know when it was going to happen. Everyone's still shocked about it. Again, I am as well. But yes, Craig Lowndes will be retiring from full-time racing at the end of this season. And what a stellar career. Decade and a bit. That's absolutely crazy. And there's been a lot of great highlights from Lowndesy. Meeting him personally, as a fan, he has been absolute gem to the fans, to the teams, to everybody. He's an absolute gem. There's not a bad word you can say about Craig Lowndes. He is an absolute gifted driver, and we all hope him and wish him the best. It won't be the last time we ever see Craig Lowndes. He is sticking around for WatPac Racing next year. He will do the co-driving and plus the enduros as well. So that's obviously good. We'll still see him in pit lane. He's obviously going to be doing commentary next year. But the big question is, who's going to actually take his place next year at WatPac? There was rumours around saying that Simona Di Silvestro will take his drive, but in saying that, she is still represented Nissan for next year. She's still under contract. The only way that could work is that if WatPac Engineering take her out of her contract and then obviously put her in there. So that might be something that WatPac has got to sort of go towards, but they are looking at Simona. Who knows who they're going to actually put down. I was seeing of potential drivers as well. Tony D'Alberto might even come back as well. He might actually do the full-time stint as well, but we don't know just yet on what that is. Obviously it's still early days, but once we get a verdict on it, that's obviously when I'll inform you guys about it as well. But yeah, Craig Lowndes, obviously, what a stellar career. Again, getting 4th place in both races this weekend was also great as well. And he's also now back in contention for the championship. And imagine that, him winning the title for the 2018 season. That would be a story in itself, you know, him actually winning the 2018 title. On his retirement year. But guys, the Lowndes farewell tour has started. Next weekend is Ipswich, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like up there. It is kind of a home race because, no, it's not. Oh yeah, it is, because that's where they do their testing and whatever else. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens round on round now. It's going to be quite emotional for him up at Bathurst this year, I know that. And obviously at the end of the year back down in Newcastle, it's going to be quite interesting as well. Guys, that's the major announcement. Yeah, it is quite humbling, quite sad. There's been a lot of tears shed by everybody. I know that he was a bit emotional during his press conference, but yet who wouldn't? You know, he's announcing his full-time retirement, and yeah, I don't blame him for shedding a couple of tears and whatever else. But guys, that's it. Craig Lowndes is retiring at the end of the year, sadly enough, and we wish nothing but the best for him, not only in Supercars but here with Supercars with Shane. It's only me, so and I know that there's a couple of people behind the scenes that might wish him the best as well. I know Mike's upset, as you could probably hear him. He was crying before. We're going to go outside in a second. I know it's freezing in here. I've actually got my legs crossed, my hands down near my legs. So, but guys, that's it. Thank you very much for coming back. I did all that subscribe stuff before, so I'm just going to leave it there. But guys, thank you very much for coming back, and I shall see you all next week for the Ipswich race. And have a good week. It's blue skies up here at Queensland, so it's really, really good. Guys, thank you very much for coming back, and I shall see you all next weekend.